Hey everybody, how you doing? Tom Barnes here, stories from the 78. And one of the true characteristics of Chicago is that we look out for each other. I mean, when people go on vacation, you got neighbors mowing each other's lawns, people grabbing your mail, and then in the wintertime, there's always that awesome neighbor that will snowplow the entire block for the sidewalks for people, right? Like that's just a small taste. And then you got block parties and all the festivals that go on in the city. It really is a small town in a big city atmosphere. People look out for each other. That's what I love about Chicago. You have these little community groups all over. Now, granted, yeah, sure, we have our problems like every other big city, but I would say that there's so many reasons why people who've gone on to be famous that talk about their time when they're in Chicago talk about it the way they do, because that's the vibe here, man. And you have all these friends and family, and you even have organizations that look out for you when you are sick. There's different organizations for different types of illnesses people are dealing with. Cancer is a big one. I think every family is affected by cancer, and certainly my family has. My mother has survived breast cancer 3 times. And my friend Grant DePorter has survived cancer. He's battled it, he kicked its ass, and now he's being honored at the 28th annual awards for the Gilda's Club Chicago. So Grant and also the Bonnie Hunt family, another Chicagoan. So these are amazing people. I welcome Grant now to the program to tell me about this honor and the 28th annual awards going on Thursday. Grant, how you doing, man?
All right, Tom, how are you doing?
I'm doing well. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Right in the middle of Cub season, you must be happy because people are coming out in droves, I imagine, to Harry Caray's and all the places that you happen to be a part of in the city.
Yeah. Well, right, especially right now, you got the Cubs, you got the White Sox, and then you have World Cup.
Yeah,
People are watching soccer right now everywhere too.
yeah, it's kind of taken the entire country by storm, which is kind of fun, right?
You can just put your ears every time, like Team USA scored and stuff. It sounded like people were screaming for miles. Yay! Made it very exciting.
So you are being honored at this incredible event Thursday at the Radisson Blu Aqua Hotel, the Gilda's Club 28th Annual Awards. Can you explain a little bit about what Gilda's is and how they've helped you through your battle that you've been dealing with in the last couple of years?
Well, right. I've been familiar with Gilda's Club since the 1990s. They help people, like, let's say you go to the hospital for physical stuff. Gilda's Club seems to do everything else, where you have to learn about your disease, cancer. They have support groups. You can either weekly or monthly. You can do individual counseling. You can go to look through all their resources, and they can do referrals. They can do meditation. They can do physical fitness stuff. So I learned about it, got really engaged in 2014 when my wife had breast cancer. And then I was diagnosed with T-cell lymphoma about a year and a half ago. And there's people have heard of lymphoma. There's
Hmm.
B cell and then there's T cell. T cell is the more rare version of it, and it's a tougher battle. So I went through 6 months of chemotherapy, got a stem cell transplant. During
Jeez.
the way, I had blood clots in my lungs. I almost had a heart attack. My kidneys were failing. I had rashes. I lost my sense of taste and smell, where I dropped 50 pounds multiple times. And so, like, these support groups and things where you're talking to other people, it's very valuable because you don't know what's going on with yourself, and you talk to other people that have already gone through it. And that's the kind of thing that Gilda creates. Creates a community. I was very public about my situation. I posted on Facebook and had hundreds of people reach out. And even since then, I've had people that are behind me, that battling lymphoma, and they're saying, "Hey, I'm about to do a stem cell transplant. What can you tell me?" So Gilda's Club's great at connecting everyone. It's a free resource. I don't think people knew that. And they're
Oh.
just right in their headquarters is right in River North, Gilda's Club Chicago, but they have satellite branches. Advocate Christ in Oakland, or they work with Rush Hospital, Northwestern, Lurie Cancer Center, and so on. So it if someone has cancer, either themselves or family members, it's one of those things where you should get involved because they don't just help the person that's battling it; they also help the family because when cancer hits a family, it affects everybody. Like my wife was with me 24/7, like scheduling doctor appointments, taking me to the hospital, and so on. And so that's the kind of thing, and that's why it was exciting to work with Gilda's. They wanted to honor me, which it, it's I survived, right? So it's
Yeah.
like, it was. I guess a lot of people say I'm a positive role model because I've had so many people reach out with other cancers and say, well, they saw what I went through. They said, if Grant can get through it, I can get through it. And I'm getting honored with Bonnie Hunt and her family. Besides her being, a great actress,
Hmm.
she's also a cancer nurse. She's moved in with families and helped individuals battle cancer for years.
I
And I
didn't
don't
know
think
that.
people, yeah, no one knows that.
Wow.
I know a lot of celebrities in my lifetime being from Harry Caray's, and I've
Hmm.
never met someone like her that's so giving and just trying to, she gets very emotional. She is an all-in person when she tries helping somebody. So they're calling it the Hunt Family Award, dealing with people to honor nurses that go above and beyond to help cancer patients.
And Bonnie Hunt, correct me if I'm wrong, she's a Chicagoan, right? She's from Chicago?
Well, that's a fun thing. I got to know her pretty well during this, and we both grew up in Park Ridge. She's her family still lives in Park
I
Ridge.
didn't know she was from Park Ridge. I didn't know you were from Park Ridge either. I live right by Park Ridge, Grant.
Yeah, I lived on Cumberland. My dad opened the Hyatt O'Hare in 1970, so my early years were in Park Ridge, and then my later years I lived at the Hyatt Regency Chicago, the largest Hyatt in the world, when my dad was running all the Hyatts down here. So, but during my Park Ridge days, I'd like to think that Bonnie and I were at the Pickwick Theater together watching a movie. But
Or at the
then I
Dairy
found
Queen.
out, yeah, and I found out that her father um, worked on the Hyatt O'Hare while my dad was there. So I think maybe they ran into each other too. So it's a small world.
It is a small world, and you touched on a little bit of your dad, and also remind me. I know this is not exactly what we're talking about, but we have you or your family to thank for the beauty that we have now going from O'Hare downtown along the highway. Because years ago, you told me this story years ago. Somebody, I think, told your dad or somebody told somebody that, hey, it's kind of nasty from O'Hare to downtown on the highway. Can you guys clean that up?
Chicago Gateway Green.
Thank you. Yes, and that's what you get when you get off the feeder ramp. You have that little landing area that has the sculpture in there, and that is you and I went and did a story there and cleaned it up one time.
Yeah, we're celebrating our 40th anniversary this year. My dad founded it in 1986.
Wow.
He passed away in 1996. So Mayor Daley dedicated the gateway into the city of Chicago after my dad, Donald J. DePorter Gateway at Ohio Orleans in Ontario. And
Well, thank you. I think I said the feeder ramp.
yeah,
Sorry.
well, right. So we clean up not just expressways. We'll go into neighborhoods. We've picked up 2 million pounds of litter. We have planted thousands of trees, bushes, and shrubs, painted over graffiti, planted, installed public art, and we've been doing that for 40 years. So it's yes. So Chicago is my hometown, and I think it's the greatest city in the world, and it's one of those things where I just want to just make it even better.
Well, and you've done that with this particular avenue that you're talking about, with cleaning up the highways, but also just the restaurants that you have throughout the city that give people a place to go and celebrate. We mentioned a little bit about the World Cup, of course, the World Series with the Cubs, even the White Sox in 2005 when they went all the way to the World Series, and now this year, both teams. One could argue maybe the White Sox are doing a little bit better than the Cubs, which I did not think I would say at all this year, but They're in first place, or at least they were as of yesterday morning, I think. So, I mean, it's been an interesting time here in the city.
Taking all the credit for their success. So what happened was my friend Lee Golub bought the Tribune Tower, and while he's remodeling it for the converting it to condos, they found a time capsule buried in the wall,
Oh,
and in that time capsule there was a baseball. And so he got me involved, and I identified that ball was used in the 1919 World Series, Game 5. It struck out 6 White Sox batters in a row, a World Series record that's never been broken.
against the Reds,
So,
right?
huh?
Against the Cincinnati Reds.
Yes.
Yep. Hmm.
Yeah. So the White Sox had a 537 winning percentage at that moment. So I take the ball, move it to the Chicago Sports Museum, and which we own over at Watertower Place,
Yeah,
and the
another one.
team winning percentage falls to 325. They lose 121 games in a row. So during the Worldwide Toast to Harry, in 20,
Not in a
well,
row, in a season.
yeah, 100. Well, they lost like over 20 in a row, setting another
Yeah.
record in the 121 game. But we moved the time capsule. We moved the ball back to the time capsule during the Worldwide Toast to Harry. And what happens? The White Sox win their opening game. The Pope comes out saying he's a White Sox fan. Shoeless Joe Jackson's now eligible for the Hall of Fame. They get the #1 draft pick in the draft, and the team's just sailing along. So. I think we undid all the damage and we set them on the path to win the World Series in the near future.
As long as it's not against the Cubs, right?
Right. No, we don't want a repeat of the 1906 World Series when the White Sox, the hitless wonders, beat. And if you look at it, the Cubs had the winningest percentage in the history of baseball in
Yeah.
1906, and that's
116.
how they lost. They lost because the White Sox had a cursed chicken called the hoodoo hen, and they put the hoodoo hen on the field, and it messed up with the Cubs, and that's how they won. But then the Cubs win the next 2 World Series in a row.
Yeah, but doesn't it kill you? They could have won 3.
Yeah, I mean they were supposed to. Well, that baseball changed the rules because they thought the Cubs were going to win every World Series from that point forward. So they actually had a rule, like with the umpires back then, that if you had to choose the Cubs or the opponent on making a decision, let's just have the Cubs just not get the ruling by the umps, and they just had to have the Cubs start losing but they tried too hard, and then they lost 108 years in a row after that.
Yeah, what the hell? A lot of people don't know what that was at the West Side Grounds, 116 win team that year, which still holds the record in the amount of games they played, I believe, right?
Yeah, because it was a 154 game season back then. Now it's 162. But yeah, they won 116 games, and they were just insane. I mean, they could crush anybody. So they tried too hard to right the ship baseball, because it's kind of like what the Dodgers are doing right now, where they're just stacking the deck too much. And
Yeah,
you
tell me
got to
about
have
it.
some parity where everyone has a good shot.
Well, the Cubbies won today, first of their doubleheader. And you mentioned the toast to Harry. I think it would be remiss if I didn't mention that Harry Caray had the pleasure of calling baseball on both the South Side and the North Side. And people can argue that the take me out to the ball game tradition started on the South Side, but was popularized on the North Side.
That is correct. He started singing "Take Me Out to the Ball Game" with White Sox games in 1977 with Nancy Faust. But the Cubs really embraced it when he switched sides in 1982, and just took off. And now that tradition, the Cubs keep it going with celebrity singers, and it's just it's a real tradition, right? A lot of people go to games. Even if the Cubs are losing big time, they always stay at least to the 7th inning stretch to sing along.
Absolutely. You cannot leave until at least the 7th inning stretch is the rule in our family. Even if they're losing 15-0, because at least you got the stretch, and then you can go home with a smile on your face either way, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's always dangerous to even lose when they're down 15, because I've seen some amazing comebacks
This is true.
in my day, and it's like you just never know.
Well, you mentioned the amount of comebacks. You've been a part of the Chicago landscape in one way or another for over 40 years, doing the things you have. Your family certainly longer than that, with your father running the Hyatts downtown and at O'Hare. So with all of the things that you've done, and you have the restaurants, the sports museum, there's an impact by the DePorter family for sure. So with this honor with the with the Gilda's Club, what does it mean to you to just be honored this way, along with the Bonnie Hunt family?
I mean, I love the charity. Laura Jane Hyde has been the head of it since 1998. I think I met her day one. And I just love what she does there, helping people. So anything I can do to help them, I'm, happy to do it. And I'm honored to be honored. But you know, uh, just going through what I went through, I learned so much, and my wife and family, how much they had to help me. And you know what people and their families go through. I have firsthand knowledge. So the fact that Gilda's Club tries making it easier for these people, families to get through all this, I mean, I can't stop saying enough about the good things they do. So it will be a fun night at the you know Radisson Blu Aqua Hotel. I mean, it's gonna be a lot of love in that room, that's for sure. A lot of my friends that been supporting me for the last year and a half get through it. I mean, I had people bringing food over to the house. If I needed rides to the hospital, they were taking me. Just it was unbelievable support. I can say that.
Well, and I think the biggest way to honor them is to continue doing what you do and being an advocate for them. And also, you look fantastic, Grant. How you feel good? You know, you're in full remission.
Yeah, I can hike up the Rocky Mountains again. I ran up and down a flight of stairs, 100 flights, just to test my back, and I am. I can do 50 push-ups and all that stuff. There was a time I couldn't walk 3 feet. I mean,
Oh,
I got one of those walkers, and just to try getting around. But even going up 3 steps would be too much for me at one point. Uh, just people are holding me, like trying to. It can really be a debilitating process. The treatments can be hard. The chemo, because you go through 6 months of lots of chemo, and then
hmm.
you think you're done, but then you have the stem cell transplant, and then they hit you with like bang, 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 days in a row of like 6 different chemos that really just kind of what they're trying to do is wipe out everything in your system. And the stem cell transplant, they wipe out everything in your bone marrow. So even your vaccines are gone. So
Oh,
if you had shingles or COVID flu shots, all of it's gone. You're a brand new baby basically, and you can't be with any people for months.
I
And
remember
then
that. I remember talking to you about opening day, and you're like, "Nah, can't go."
yeah, I didn't go to any Cub game last year until the doctor said the end of September. So
Yep.
I got to go to all the playoff games and all that, but I was not allowed to go before. He just timed it. He said, "Well, it's outdoors. You're wait, so because it's just like COVID. Outdoor is better than indoor with running into people." So it was that. I just got the last round of vaccines last week, so I'm caught up on everything except live vaccines like measles. That's
Oh,
something you have to wait another year for.
well, you know what? Cheers to having to have that vaccine all over again, Grant. I'm sure. I don't think you ever thought you would say that, but that means all things are going in the right direction. I've known you for a long time, and I'm grateful for your time. I'm grateful for your honesty and your vulnerability, just talking about this and sharing the stories about your father and you and the restaurant scene in Chicago has dramatically been affected by what you do and how you push the city up when so many other people want to push it down. You like plant a flag and say, hey, 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 like you're whoa, whoa, Chicago deserves a little bit more than what you're giving it. And I think the culinary scene in Chicago proves that, along with our hospitality in general and organization like Gilda's Club, because we look out for each other in this city. So as much as I can help you in doing what I'm doing, I'm grateful for our friendship. And I'm going to see you, or I'll see your restaurant on Friday for a big event for CBS. But that is
Either two.
Oh,
Same.
well, and if you want to get dunked, there's a dunk tank. If you want to get dunked, that we'll make sure it's nice and cold for you. It'll be like a cold plunge, which I'm sure you've done. So, but before that, you will have your event 6 o'clock Thursday, which is tomorrow, June 25th, at the Radisson Blu Aqua at 221 North Columbus Avenue. So, yeah, I look forward to hearing about the event, and I'm sure you're pretty excited about it.
Yeah, so everyone should just go to gildasclubchicago.org. All the information's there, and also about everything they do. Yeah, it should be a great event.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing about it, and I wish you nothing but the best in health. Cancer is something close to my heart. My mom beat cancer 3 times, so she's still going strong. So I know what it's like to have how it can affect family. I don't know what it's like from a personal standpoint like you do, but it's certainly seeing people you love struggle with something that's pretty tough to deal with.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, my dad died from cancer, and just going through that, I didn't want to follow. I followed his footsteps in so many ways, being in hospitality, and didn't want to follow in those footsteps. Though when I got cancer, I was 30 when he got it. My kids were that 30 when I got it. It's like, no, let's break that chain.
Yeah.
I want to be around.
Yeah, there's plenty more Cub games to go and check out, playoff games, World Series, and everything afterwards. So, Grant, thank you so much for your time and congratulations on the honor.
No, thanks so much, Tom.